They called Republican strategist Karl Rove George Bush's brain. He's on Fox, which we know Trump watches, to deliver this GOP warning.
With the president's approval rating where it is and with the normal malaise that we have, it's hard to believe that the Republican losses are only going to be 5 or 6 seats.
And 5 or 6 seats would be enough to lose the House. Malaise is usually associated in political history with Jimmy Carter and his one-term presidency. Rove also talked about the polling. There's new Financial Times numbers that show majority of voters disapprove of Trump on the economy. His negative ratings outweigh the positive. That's underwater. Negative 16 on jobs and the economy, even worse on inflation and tariffs, as you see here. Then there's consumer sentiment. That's not just one of these political polling things. Economists look at that data for the long-term heartbeat of the American economic mood. It's at a new low. One Trump official struggling to keep up.
President Trump has sort of taken every problem on earth and got 100% at fixing it. And I think that can be stressful for people to see so much change going on.
Yes, that 100% success is causing stress, which is why everyone's mad at the economy and Trump. Word salad. Trump looks out of touch with all the vanity projects while people suffer. Gas prices over $4.50. Diehard Trump supporters have put a golden statue of Trump at a Florida golf course, which might fit their mood, but they're in the distinct minority. It was funded by crypto investors who commissioned Trump's likeness in a promotional push. Guess what? For their meme coin, because that's how they want to get rich. Not very relevant to most people if you're not in that elite, smug, rich, right-wing circle that is continuing to benefit from the Trump wheeling and dealing. As for the cost estimates for that reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial, well, they're running over budget, $13 million of taxpayer money, the ballroom at $1 billion, Democrats vowing to fight it. And we haven't even gotten to the missing gold phones.
Hey, Trump supporter here. This goes out to Don Jr. and Eric. Where the is my phones? I ordered 4 gold Trump phones in the summer. Now we can't get any updates on them.
He's not alone. A bunch of customers and MAGA fans are very angry to find that Donald Trump is breaking his word again, that Trump's failing business has duped whatever fans it has left. This latest grift involves the Trump family's business failure to deliver promised Trump phones after getting down payments on them from a lot of customers. Now, how many people would actually like to buy a Trump gold phone at this juncture, say in the last year? Well, considering the past ripoffs and the fact that no major cell phones are actually produced in the U.S., so this seemed like a long shot, well, you might think not that many. But the answer is, well over 500,000 people each paid a $100 deposit to get in on the planned and promised Trump phone. Not a single confirmed customer, though, has gotten one. This is a report from the IBT. Meanwhile, the website for the so-called Trump Mobile, which isn't very mobile, includes a disclaimer. A pre-order doesn't guarantee a device will be produced or made available for purchase. I mean, that is just out there. A pre-order means not a pre-order. We just hold your $100 and we might never make the phone. The so-called Trump phone was announced with a lot of fanfare by Trump's sons last year.
Today, we're here to introduce Trump Mobile, making phones in America. It's about time we bring products back to our great country.
We're going to be having call centers for Trump Mobile in St. Louis, so we're keeping our data onshore.
We plan to build phones in America. All of our customer support is in America. A lot of people are getting ripped off, to say the least, because they don't pay attention to our cell phone plans. So I think we can do a better.
People are getting ripped off. They're going to do a better job. They're actually doing no job because they haven't shipped any phones. The company's selling point was that this somewhat gilded device would be made in America. You heard that in some of those clips. Now they say it will be proudly American. I guess that's kind of how the phone identifies. It will be designed with American values in mind. Sure. Whatever. But that's not how country of origin labeling works. If you're going to make something here or have it abroad, the mother of all tariffs president ought to know that. The phone reportedly now predominantly made in China. But again, that's if it's made. So far, the company now says, don't assume if you buy one or part of one that it'll ever be produced. So we don't know if it's ever going to be made or where. Now, if it's all familiar, this is not the first time Trump has done this kind of thing. Remember, there's a Trump-branded crypto meme coin. The family has made over $200 million on it, but its value has tanked by over 90%. That means, obviously, if you put in $10, you'd have about one left while they get rich. Trump has basically been moving through different groups of ultimately disillusioned consumers for decades. You could analogize some of what he does in business to how he's moved through voters, something we've explored in past reports, because he keeps moving around, moving the goalposts, finding new people to believe the thing. The old people are disillusioned. We all know how many folks have worked for him and then turned on him. In business, he licenses a brand but then is not effective and sometimes just not honest about executing the so-called brand deal. And that's left products varying in quality or in whether they exist. Remember, it was a Trump university that later actually cost Trump tens of millions of dollars because so many people had been legally defrauded that they had a court case. Unlike the revenge prosecutions we've been telling you about, they had a case that over the years they finally won. He did return some money, but this is a pattern.
When it comes to great stakes, I've just raised the stakes.
My new game is Trump, the game.
The God Bless the USA Bible. At Trump University, we teach success. That's what it's all about.
It's a smooth vodka. It's a great tasting vodka.
The elegance of Trump Vineyard Estates, it just can't be beat.
We were the first plane out this morning. We were the most successful flight this morning. We had more people than anybody else, and I think we had better service than anybody else.
A lot of branding and a lot of failures. To paraphrase the great poet Mos Def, I don't care what kind of brand you are. I care what kind of man you are, what your principles and standards are. With that in mind, we bring back the aforementioned Brian Tyler Cohen, host of the online show No Lie, many YouTube subscribers, recent interview with Obama. And we were asking you about the Trump economy, and this business failure fits into a pattern. Your thoughts tonight?
It does. And you know, the interesting thing about all of this is when I was growing up, it would have been impossible, really, to imagine that any young person would really be a Republican. But Trump took advantage of the disillusionment that so many young people felt, and it was a really amazing opportunity for him and Republicans to do what they haven't done for my entire lifetime, which is to really exploit a lot of that pain. And instead, Trump gets into office. He has this rare opportunity to deliver for a disillusioned generation of young people, whether it's millennials like myself or Gen Z. And instead, he just decides to grift and con them. And whereas he said prices would go down, he started a trade war that sent the price of everything surging. He cut everybody's healthcare, cut everybody's food assistance, and instead started delivering for himself. I mean, you were just covering most of this stuff: a reflecting pool and a ballroom and a Qatari jet, a rose garden, a golden statue of himself. He's doubled his net worth. I mean, if there's anybody who still doubts the fact that Trump, ran on one thing and has delivered something completely different, this should put all of that to rest.
And do you detect something different happening out in the response to the gas crisis and the war, as opposed to other so-called Trump betrayals?
Yeah, I think those are especially interesting because these are issues that Republicans exploited specifically, whether it was with regard to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, they ran on this idea that you need Trump back because your gas prices are only going to be low if Donald Trump is in office. You need Trump back because the only way that your kids avoid a draft is if Donald J. Trump is in office. And yet here we are with Trump in office. He's got full control of government, so there's not even any Democrats to blame. You can't point your finger at any Democrats. And gas prices are the highest that they've been in years, nearly at the highest price they've ever been. And now we have a war that's been raging on in the Middle East for 2 months that's costing God knows how much money every single day. And that would be bad enough unto itself. And it's made even worse given the fact that this is something he campaigned expressly on not doing, and even worse on top of that, over the fact that all of that money could have gone to America First priorities, which is what Trump himself ran on. It could have helped people in this country with healthcare and food assistance and making education better funded or infrastructure. I mean, you name it.
And then I was curious, your counterparts on the digital right, why do some of them seem either more flexible, or others would say more transactional, than the old school Republican pundits in D.C., some of who we see on Fox? You've got your counterparts have moved more quickly against Trump lately on Epstein and the war.
Look, I think that in large part, these folks are younger, and I don't think that they showed any allegiance to Trump or the Republican Party. I mean, these aren't lifers, right? These are not people who have been lifelong Republicans. Like I said, I mean, when I was younger, if a lot of these folks were, a lot of these folks were supportive of Barack Obama, and we've kind of felt this sense of, okay, well, Democrats aren't delivering where they have control, and so I'll just be a little bit more flexible, give my vote to Republicans, and see if they can deliver. So these aren't people necessarily who have long-term allegiances, and frankly, I think that the way that Trump has kind of undermined his own promises to these people is so egregious. Like, there is no way for any of these right-wing influencers to justify or defend Trump engaging in a foreign war when he ran on no new wars, cutting healthcare when he promised to protect healthcare, starting a trade war when he promised to bring costs down, and instead focusing all of these costs on himself and building himself a ballroom, hosting crypto dinners for himself. I mean, this stuff is so aggressively impossible to defend that, of course, these right-wing influencers, recognizing that Trump's not going to be around forever, they're skating to where the puck is going, not where it is right now, because they want a half-life longer than when Trump is in office.